All right, welcome to the Marks and Lines project. So this is the first project in where we'll explore marks and lines in both Photoshop and Illustrator. So again, a line is a point moving in space and can vary in width, length, curvature, color, direction. And essentially this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a grid of different kinds of marks. And here we're going to show how to set up tabloid size for both Illustrator and Photoshop. And then use the grid tool for AI, Adobe Illustrator, and use the new guide layout for Photoshop. So let's get to it. So here's just some examples of different kinds of marks. We're going to keep them all in black and white. So let's go to Photoshop first. It's an easier one to start out with. So we're just going to go File and then choose New. And then we're going to choose under Print menu here the tabloid size. So click on tabloid. And 11 by 17 should be the dimensions by 300 resolution. We're going to keep it vertical, and we're just going to click on Create. Once we have it in here, now we can get to our guides through the View menu. So if we go to View, down here towards the bottom is the New Guide Layout. So I'm going to click on that. And in here is where you can type in the 6 for columns and 8 for rows. Now you might have this unchecked, depending on where this is at in terms of the default settings. So all you gotta do is check it and then type in the value of 8 here. So 6 and 8. You may have a gutter value. Maybe you have like 0.2 and like 0.2 on these. If you want to get rid of those, all you gotta do is type in a 0 for each one, and then you have a cleaner sort of grid. And then all you gotta do is click OK. Okay. Now, if you at any time make a mistake on that grid, you could always go View and then go down to Clear Guides, and then go to View, and then go down to New Guide Layout, and just repeat that same process. And then just click OK. Now these guides will not print. They're guides, so they got this sort of cyan color on them. And all you gotta do is add a new layer by clicking on the next to trash can here, the new layer icon. And in this layer is where you can make your marks. So I can switch to my paintbrush tool. It has the hotkey of B. And there are several brush tools here. There's a little guide here on how to learn. You can check that out if you like. There's the pencil tool, color replacement, and mixer brush. The one we're just going to explore really is just the brush tool. It's the top one. And again, you can access these by holding down the mouse on the tool and then going down or up on the levels here. You can do that also with the hotkey of Shift B. We'll kind of rotate through them. So again, that's Shift B. All your brush options are up here at the top. So you can see here, this one has a opacity of 47% from what I've had before. So if I draw a mark here, you can see it's kind of gray. If I make this 100%, it'll be kind of black. Now this of course is based on my color over here. So if I click on the swatch here, I could change different color. But typically with this project, we want to keep it all kind of black and white and gray. So you can go down the bottom right or bottom left corner and click OK. Or you can hit the D key, which will default black and white. So if I have red selected here, for example, notice in the bottom left here of these little swatches here, once I hit the D key, they switch back to black and white. So now I can make those kind of marks however I want. Now, the marks, you could click in here and find sort of access to your brush engine. I like to have it docked on the side here. So if you go to Window, go down to Brushes, that'll open up your brush engine over here on the right. And you have your brush settings. So in here you can pick any of these and kind of experiment with, which is kind of fun to like go through and try them out. There's a ton of brushes to choose from in here. And then in the brush menu set here, you have all these little folders of brushes, which you can kind of explore and just open them up and paint away here. Now to change the size of the brush, you can basically use this little slider here. If we go back to brush settings, it's down here. And you can see it sort of update there. There's also in the brush engine all the different features for brush. If you have, for example, a stylus set up, you can add shape dynamics with pin pressure. We can set this to fade. And so as I draw now, it sort of fades off. And so I have to increase the size a little bit to get the effect that I'm looking for. But it definitely has like a fade quality to it. And it's based upon the different parameters here, so we can try that out. I'm going to leave it to pin pressure though. Pin pressure is better when you have a stylus set up. So the last thing I want to explore in here is basically you can add additional layers if you want. You can also erase. So if you do want to change some of the marks, you can use your eraser tool, which is right here. It has a hotkey of E for the eraser. And right now you can see it's got a soft erasing. That's due to the hardness of the brush. I can click in here and adjust the hardness so I can make it 100% hard now and I get nice sharp lines. So some of these brushes, if you click on them, they'll accidentally switch to the eraser tool. So do be aware of that. Some of them, they're kind of set up for that. Other ones are set up for example, like the mixer brush here. So they'll do some other interesting effects. But have fun kind of exploring marks in Photoshop here and basically just kind of draw out all these little grids. Okay, so that pretty much sets up everything for Photoshop. At the end, you want to make sure you save out as a Photoshop file. So just go File, Save As, give it a name, and then once you click Save, you'll have the option to, let me just save it out actually. We'll call this brush demo, and then I'll add my name to it, and then I'll put it in the 2D design folder here, and I'll just hit save, and you'll get this format options. Just click OK. Illustrator, you can do the same thing. You're gonna have Illustrator open and go File, New, and then click on Print, and then click on Tablet again, and then click Create. The difference here is by default, this is not sent to the Essentials workspace, the Classic. It's set to the Essentials Regular. And you'll notice some of the tools here disappear on the left. So make sure you switch to the Essentials Classic workspace by clicking up here in the drop-down menu. Then you'll have access to the Grid tool. So the Grid tool is with the Line Segment tool. You have to hold the mouse on that tool and then go down to the Rectangular Grid tool. And once you do that, you can draw from one corner to the other and create essentially a grid like this. Now, I'm going to go and delete that. If you double click on the tool, double click on the little tool here, you'll get the grid options. And here's where you type in the numbers, the values here. And if we go back to the instructions here, you're supposed to put 5 and 3 for the grid numbers. So in here, we could put 5 for the number and then 3 for the vertical, and then click OK. And now as I drag out from one corner to the other, we get these little kind of square grids here. Now, you want to make sure that you're, with this still selected, you can kind of see it with these little blue dots, that you want to have, for the fill, the red slash. If I had a black in here, you could see what would happen. It would fill it in all black. So you just want to make sure you have the red slash. That means no fill. And then the stroke, you can pick black for the outline. And then you can click in here and increase the stroke if you want to a higher point. So maybe we'll go to like 2 points, just to make it a little stronger to see. And then click out with the arrow. So this is not a guide, this is actual line work that you can actually select. So what we can do is we can now switch to the bright paintbrush tool, which is right here. It has a hotkey of B. And basically all your brushes are in here in the library. So I'll close this. You click on the little brush icon here, and you can basically draw away and experiment with these cool little brushes, right? Now you might say, well, where are all those other brushes? There's not that many here. And that's true. But if you go to library here, click on the bottom left corner, there's a ton of other brushes. So you can go to artistic, for example, a charcoal. And then all you gotta do is, I'll move it off to the side here, is click on any of these that you want, and they'll load in the library. You can draw directly from here, or you can click over here and draw on them. And you can experiment with all these different ones, like the Vector Grunge Brush Pack, for example. These are really cool kind of marks you can make. So experiment with however many of these you want. In terms of changing the size on here, you can do a left bracket to make it smaller and right bracket to make it bigger. But with a lot of these brushes, because they are vector base, you can click up here and change it to different point size. So it tends to be better just to click up here and adjust that, unless you have a stylus where you can use the control of the stylus to zoom in and out with the features. So basically make all kinds of cool marks on the page, try out all the different brushes in Illustrator and Photoshop. And basically at the end, you'll have some cool, bunch of little marks. So have fun. Until next time, see you soon. Cheers.